this edition of Supervisors Report with David Haubert, our supervisor from District 1. I'm your host, Marshall Kamina. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you.
Thanks for having me, Marshall.
Lots has been going on in your place, haven't it?
We have never a dull moment in District 1.
Do you have something that you would like to share with us?
You know, I would like to say that high on my list of priorities of getting done is and this is partly my county supervisor hat and partly the hat I wear as a member of the Joint Powers Authority that manages the Coliseum. I see our next item is on the Coliseum, but I want to say that we're going to be allowing Roots Soccer to play their home games in the 2025 season in the Coliseum.
Isn't
that's amazing?
Yes.
And it's something that the residents of not only Roots Soccer, which is men's professional soccer, but the Soul team, which is women's professional soccer, will be able to play in the Coliseum. They're going to be able to play, basically have the whole stadium to themselves because we know that the A's are leaving. And so this will be the last season for the A's. So Roots and Soul Soccer are going to be able to move into the Coliseum. It's something that the residents are really happy for. Not only the residents of Oakland, but all of Alameda County. This is our team. I've been to one Roots soccer game.
What'd you think?
It was an amazing experience, a great vibe, a family environment, and I look forward to going to many more. But they won't be playing at Cal State East Bay. They'll be playing at the Coliseum. So I'm looking forward to that, Marshall.
Oh, bet you are. Well, Fox, KTVU, Channel 2, and right here in Alameda County, Oakland, has been promoting that too. And the tidbits they've given us have been really exciting.
Yeah.
I'll bet you that you're just modestly saying you're looking forward to it, but I'll bet you had a lot to do with it.
We did, Marshall, and it's been one of those labors of love. It took a lot of work, and it's finally coming together. We'll have more to report in the next couple of months about that, but it's on its way.
Well, by gosh, we're on the topic of the Coliseum, huh? It appears that your instincts were absolutely correct with your analysis of the future of the Coliseum and the Oakland A's. Where does it stand now?
Right now, it stands that the A's have made a final decision that they're going to move their team for the next season to Sacramento. That means it opens up the door for the Coliseum. I just mentioned Roots and Soul, but it opens the door for so many other things. They're looking at maybe there's a possibility of a new upstart professional football league. I don't know much about it, but somebody wants to go start a new professional football league. We're not talking the Raiders, but we're talking about some kind of professional football that would be played there. It opens the door for concerts. It opens the door for other sporting events. Yeah. It opens the door for so many things that we can now have more control over. But that's just for the Coliseum Stadium. The whole property itself, co-owned between the City of Oakland, Alameda County, until the A's consummate their purchase of it. Mm-hmm. They're going to own half of it, but they've already said they're going to sell their half, and they're going to sell it, it appears, if a deal can be struck, to the AASEG. What is that? That's the African American Sports and Entertainment Group. It's a group consisting of partially local people from Oakland, as well as capital from other parts of the country, Chicago, DC, and New York, investors, African American investors that want to buy the A's share. They already have an agreement with the City of Oakland for the City of Oakland's share. If the AASEG can combine both halves, they own the whole site, and they have great plans to redevelop it. So we're working with them to make sure that everything goes smoothly until February of 2026. The county still owns their half. Mm-hmm. It's in sale to the A's. It won't close until February of 2026. But here's another tidbit. If you remember last year when the A's finally announced they were leaving, that allowed me to call an accelerated payment schedule.
Oh, no kidding.
Due. And so they've been paying us along the way each year. They owe us for another couple of years, but because they said they're moving, we called the note due.
And you have every right to do that.
Have every right to do it. People were wondering what would they say, and they said, you're right, we'll pay you. So on May 14th, I expect we will collect the final payment from the A's They will have paid all their payments on time. Now, if we didn't call the payment due, they could have just kept paying us over time until 2026.
Wow.
We called it due, so they'll have to pay us early, which they've agreed to do. They haven't done it yet, but they've agreed to do it. That will allow us to collect that money sooner and put it to good use. Then they'll be free to sell their stake to the AASEG.
Does the AASEG have a track record, or have they formed as a group because of what's before us?
The AASEG is formed specifically to purchase the Coliseum site, but the people behind it have been in business for many, many years, and they know what they're doing.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you should feel very proud, because this whole issue started when you were in high school.
And it's going to end, I don't know when, Marshall. It's going to take a long time to get this done, but we're on the right track of getting something done at that Coliseum site, which is such a perfectly situated, beautiful site, right in the middle of town, next to a freeway, next to an airport. By the way, next to the newly renamed San Francisco Bay Area Airport in Oakland. And so,
yeah, I never knew where it was. I'm really happy that. Yes.
So anyway, it's got a lot coming for the Coliseum and property entirely.
Well, do you think this will be ready when that new grandchild of yours, who was born yesterday, will be able to come and watch some of these
Thank
games?
you, Marshall. Maybe by the time he graduates high school. Yeah, that's a good point. I do look forward to bringing Henry. Thank you for mentioning that.
I love that name.
Grandson born the other day, Henry Lundeen, and we'll have to bring him down and take him to some event at the Coliseum. Won't be an A's game, but maybe we'll have another sports team by then.
I'm in.
Yeah, good, good.
This is hard for me to say. The Rural Roads Group.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, Marshall, you know, my district is a large district geographically, and it's very diverse. Not only the Tri-Valley, but all the way down into Fremont. Part of my district is the long rural nooks and crannies of Alameda County, Mines Road, Tesla Road, other roads that branch off of them that go way past even Del Valle Lake, all the way down into Santa Clara and over to Stanislaus and San Joaquin counties. And so these roads, we call them rural roads because they're out in the countryside. You don't even know you're near a city. And that's
sure.
the definition of rural, I guess, right? We have, you know, over 100 homes back in there. And they're part of my constituency. But because they have different needs and different interests and different things that we talk about, we have a special group called the Rural Roads Group. Basically, it's a list of all the email addresses of everyone that lives out on a rural road like Mines Road or Tesla Road. And we communicate with them with either monthly or quarterly meetings, hear their concerns about things that are happening. You know, there's some roads out there that the rains have washed away and we have to repair them. When the brush gets real dry, they have fires back there and they have to get their animals out. So we're working on ways to move livestock in a quick, efficient manner. Things that you don't think about when you live in town. And so we have a rural roads group, over 60 out of about 100 homes, about 60 are signed up. I should say that when I talked about those roads, you know we have 165 miles of those rural roads? 165 miles of those roads in East County that will be, that are really county roads that we're responsible for. And about 100 homes that live on them. Big, giant ranches, farms, anything you can imagine happens out there.
Well, I can't imagine the county's forward-looking ability that they would name one of the roads after an electric car.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you do that?
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah. Tesla Road, we know it well. The other concern they have, Marshall, besides the people that actually live on them, and it's relatively few, about 100 that live on 166 miles, but thousands of people cut through Alameda County from, say, San Joaquin County, and they cut through and travel on those roads. And those roads weren't meant to carry thousands of cars every day. As you imagine, they were built 100 years ago. They maybe had a little bit of traffic Now some of those roads have thousands of cars every day, and they just weren't made to sustain that.
Well, when I was a young boy, a Sunday afternoon, Sunday drivers were out, and that was a wonderful place, and it was very relaxed, and we could have picnics on the side of the road, and well, anyway.
Yeah. Del Val's still there, Marshall.
It sure is.
Del Val Lake is a great regional asset.
I wonder when they'll be able to swim in it again.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
I'm going to talk to Zone 7.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be back right on this edition of Supervisor's Report in just a moment. Welcome back to this edition of Supervisor's Report. We're here talking with Alameda County Supervisor for District 1, David Haubert. Welcome back.
Thanks, Marshall.
Oh boy, we've been having some nice topics, I think, and your information is just right on point. With regard to District 1, we in the Tri-Valley are used to thinking about Dublin, Pleasant, and Livermore, but Fremont is also in District 1. And a few minutes ago you alluded to them, and I thought, by gosh, aren't there some common things that we have in District 1 that really makes this work for you? Are you happy about it?
I love my district, Marshall, and in fact, indeed, most of Fremont, about 80% of Fremont is in my district. It's half of my district. The population is split half, between half in the Tri-Valley and half down in Fremont. Fremont also including Sunol and the community of Niles, and so, which is part of Fremont. Fremont's a wonderful community. It has great assets and things like Lake Elizabeth, a beautiful man-made lake that people walk around. It's got Mission Peak, a wonderful place to go hike to. It's got Ohlone Community College. There is Mission San Jose, one of the original missions of California. And in fact, Marshall, my office is helping to fund the organization that continues to operate Mission San Jose.
No kidding.
So when I go to Fremont, those are the kinds of things that I meet with the community of Fremont to talk about and to support them on. And you know, when I was down there, Marshall, we looked around at the cemetery at Mission San Jose. Did you know Robert Livermore is buried at Mission San Jose? I believe he must have passed before St. Michael's came up, because St. Michael's is a few years younger than Mission San Jose.
I'll bet that's true.
And he's buried at Mission San Jose. So that means back in the day, in that day, there was a very close relationship between the community of Livermore and the community of Fremont, where Mission San Jose is. Yeah.
Yes, in the library we have in Livermore, there's lots that addresses that very thing, and it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to know that you are attending to Fremont, because when I first got involved in this city, I thought that the supervisor for Fremont was Chris Gray, but it was not true. He still was within District 1, but I guess he had some assigned duties.
Yeah, and Chris lives in Fremont, so that's a good point, and Chris knows a lot about Fremont. Yeah, so I love my district, both parts of my district, Marshall, and I spend as much time down there as I can with the community of Fremont.
I hope you won't mind talking about the ARPA grants. It has nothing to do with dog food, okay? Nothing at all. But there are cash grants. And can you share that information with us?
Yes, Marshall, when we, I think for many of us, COVID is becoming a distant memory of the past.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, and hopefully it doesn't come back again. But if we remember back in the day, and COVID was such a big thing, shutting down businesses, people were laid off and not able to go to work. And at the time, we created, and the federal government gave a chunk of money to the county to pay for all of the medical needs that we had, masking and vaccinations, and millions of dollars. They also gave each supervisor about $3 million to help out with the economic turmoil that COVID caused on small businesses. When we did that, we had a long time frame to give that money out to people that are in need. We knew that some people needed help immediately and asked for it. Other people continued to have losses, but they haven't even come out to cover those losses yet. So we have until the end of this year to actually utilize that money. We've utilized almost all of it, but we saved some for those businesses that are still struggling. Maybe it's a restaurant that hasn't fully regained its patronage yet. Or small businesses like nail salons, like the wineries, like barber shops and things like that, where some people, are still worried about going out as often as they did before.
Absolutely.
And so I want everybody to know that until the money is gone, and while we still have the ability to spend it, if a small business can prove that it had loss due to COVID, that they can apply for grants. Some of these grants are $5,000 or $10,000. Some can go up to all the way up to $100,000. In fact, the Livermore Chamber is a recipient of grants that we metered out over time, total of $100,000.
Okay.
To help out with economic development in the community. And so if anybody is needful that can prove hardship and a loss due to COVID, they are eligible for an ARPA grant.
You're always thinking of the little guy.
Yeah.
I really
So
appreciate
important.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
important. Yeah.
But that makes me somehow have pop into my mind solar power.
Another thing that's very important to us all, right, Marshall, is transitioning to clean, green, renewable energy, ways that we can power our electricity needs that's not coal-fired, not petroleum-based, but rather things like sun and solar energy.
Well, don't you think the District 1 is the ideal place for this?
It's a great place for not only solar but wind, and we have them both, and more are coming. The industry is such that, electricity, once you generate it, you have to use it. It goes right into the grid, and the lights turn on. But what happens is you need to store it as well.
There you go.
And so we're learning how, the industry is learning how to create large battery storage facilities that can store the energy from the sun, not have to put it into the grid right away, and put it into the grid maybe in the middle of the night when the sun isn't shining and you still need electricity.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might think we need more electricity at the nighttime because the sun's not out, right? People staying up watching TV and powering their cell phones overnight,
Yes.
charging their automobiles. The overnight need for electricity is tremendous, and it's growing. So we're finding ways to store the energy that we receive during the day and release it during the night. Well, that means that we have to build maybe what is like a large room or a container, or bigger than a container, multiple containers. And people are concerned that, well, that might not look so nice in a large open field. Well, it's one of these balances between a property owner's rights to land that he owns. Is he allowed to use that land to collect the energy from the sun in a solar panel and store that energy in a battery and release it in the middle of the night to the electric grid? And indeed, Aramis has a project that, the project is called Aramis, the company is called Intersect Power.
There you go.
And that project has been approved, and they haven't broken ground yet, but they faced a legal challenge. That legal challenge is over. I'll have to find out when they actually break ground, Marshall, but they're planning to. In addition to that, there are a couple of other storage projects that are coming. And you're going to see more of it, but the concern is that we see too much of it. I don't want to see every square inch filled with a solar panel. We can't do that. So we're finding ways to have a policy that would dictate just how much is a reasonable amount of solar panels and storage units to accept, because we want to preserve as much of the open space as we can while still allowing for our energy needs. That's the balance that we have to make.
Well, one of the questions I most often get from our audience is, does Supervisor Haubert ever sleep?
Well, they say you can sleep when you're dead, Marshall, but I don't plan to do that anytime soon either.
Sorry.
We do work hard, though, don't we? Yeah, we really do.
Absolutely.
I give my credit to the team.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I think you're very sincere about that. I think the evidence is out there.
Yeah.
And are there any other upcoming events you might like to share with us?
I'll tell you, Marshall, indeed, my team is hard at work. On Thursday, April 25th, we're going to have the Livermore Chamber sponsoring the state of the county. So they're going to have me come and talk about the state of the county.
Where?
Thursday, April 25th. I'll put the information on how to get a ticket and where to go on the screen here. It's sponsored by the Livermore Chamber. I don't know the exact site. But Thursday, May 9th, we're going to have a town hall meeting where we invite the community to come and hear what it's like to be a foster parent, what it's like to be a resource to a foster parent, a support person to a foster parent. We need to grow the number of qualified foster parents in our community, and we can do that by also providing them support parents so they know they don't have to take it on all by themselves. That's going to be May 9th at the Robert Livermore Community Center. We also have Thursday, May 2nd. This is a really good one, Marshall. I'm glad my staff put this down here. Thursday, May 2nd, as every first Thursday of May, is National Day of Prayer. We're going to do the 4th annual National Day of Prayer, where we call on the whole community to pray for our nation, to pray for our national leaders, that they would make good decisions and steer our country in the right direction. This is a congressionally approved day, National Day of Prayer, first Thursday in May. This year it's May 2nd. We're moving the time to 5 p.m. where we can have an hour of networking and some food, and then 6 p.m. I also want to say that I'm an invited guest to this. The District 1 Interfaith Council,
Oh boy, yeah.
pastors and rabbis and imams from District 1 have come together to take this event over, and I'm supportive, I'm a sponsor, I'm a guest, but we started it, but we turned it over to them. They're now leading that, but that's Thursday, May 2nd, 5 p.m. at the Alameda County Fairgrounds, free for all. If you can't attend, we'll put the Zoom link on, because there's a way to go to Zoom, and we'll put a QR code on the screen. People can go and watch it online, which is a great benefit. If you can't be in person, be there on Zoom. So those are some things coming up, Marshall. Like you said, never a dull moment in District 1.
The National Day of Prayer, though, tends to sneak up on people, but it has persevered ever since President Reagan introduced it. It was on the May 5th at that time. I remember it very well.
Yeah.
And the number of times that I've attended them, and you've attended them, how much it's grown, is you've explained it already. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm glad you are. Well, by gosh, it's coming to the end of that time. Thank you, Supervisor Haubert, for being here, and thank you for being here with us. I'm Dr. Marshall Kamina. Join me for the next episode of Supervisors Report with David Haubert right here on Tri-Valley TV. Thank you so much for watching.